Hello, everybody. Welcome to Out of the Spirit Box episode. Whatever is it? What is it?
3. I think we've made it to 3, Heather.
Is it 3 or is it 4?
Oh, 4. I labeled it 4 in the doc, so it's got to be 4.
It's episode 4. I labeled it 4.
Somebody labeled something. Because we're doing great.
We are here with our very special friend, Vale, who has been appearing more and more recently, and I love it. Vale has
I'll be honest, that sounds a little awkward. Our special friend.
Well, you're my special friend. You just popped out from my past and was all supportive and loving. So yes, tonight we plan on talking about shadow people and that whole phenomenon. Avani, did you start your stream?
I did.
Oh,
yep.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Jack said button, I clicked button.
So we were just talking about how our lives have been falling apart for all of December. So we haven't done half the research we wanted to do. So this is going to be a very surface level discussion, but it's okay.
Yeah, damn.
Vale, you're bringing the content today.
All right, I will be content today because I do have quite a few stories.
And I'm excited to hear them.
Yes. Because all we've had is teasers up to this point.
Yeah. Well, you know, all of our previous episodes have been us bullshitting, and I don't know if this episode will be any different. But at least there will be some real life experience from somebody.
A real life experience fucking sucks, let me tell you. I'd rather it be theoretical. I really do.
Yeah. So do we want to start first with what our understanding of shadow people is, I guess?
Yeah, because I think your understanding is more thorough than mine, because honestly, I just came up with more questions.
Well, you know, I just typed into Google shadow people and opened every article on the first couple pages and skimmed through. So I saw that you started to look into it too, which is interesting because in your notes you noted that they're often described as having glowing red eyes. I actually didn't see that in my goat.
That is the only place I saw it, and it was the strangest thing I saw because I've never seen it anywhere else. And to me that just sounds so demonic.
Yeah, that's a very distinct thing. I would certainly, if I saw something with glowing red eyes, I would certainly think it was demonic.
So
it's your building, it's your house, buy, you can have it.
From my experience, I've seen shadow people once when I was younger, like, let's say 18. Okay. And then now, almost 30. And neither of the two times I've seen glowing red eyes. Right. I've seen something that seemed demonic, which is a completely other story than what I was going to share. That did have red eyes. And it was misty instead of a shadow.
Definitely not fun, I would say.
Yeah.
I would shit myself.
I think that everybody, from really, like, what I got from your notes and from my notes is everybody has a different perception of what it is.
Well, they have different details, right? But for the most part, you know, on most of the articles I read, everybody described it as a tall human-like figure, not necessarily human exactly, but, you know, humanoid.
It's got arms, legs, and body.
Exactly. Yeah. And it has an extreme depth to its darkness. Vale, were you there, the episode that I talked to Avani about the shadow person I saw?
Well, I haven't been here. This is my first Into the Spirit Box. I've never seen any of them before.
Okay. So you haven't been on any of the streams. Okay.
No, like, I don't think you've done one since I've been part of you guys.
Who knows? So anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how long we've been doing this anymore, because life is everything that it's been.
Yes. Mine's been falling apart for 8 months. So when I was telling about the story, I was telling her it was the middle of the night. I had woken up to go to the bathroom, which should have been my first red flag that I was getting older. And I, of course, got up without my glasses. I had a night light from my laptop. I have my laptop playing videos. So it was one bright spot in my room, so I could kind of see outlines of my shit. Um, Went up to go to the bathroom. My dad came out of his room and went to the kitchen, but I didn't hear him walk past the bathroom door. So when I came out of the bathroom, um, his door was open and that had the TV light coming out of it. His room is right next to my door. So our doors are really close to each other. I walked into my room, saw what I thought was the silhouette of my 6 foot tall father, and went, "Man, what are you doing in my room?" And I went to push him, and my hand went through the outline of my supposed father, and I panicked and ran to his room like a 5-year-old child. So that was my one. That was my one and only experience with a shadow person. But that person did that person that thing that visual um, was head on. Whereas in most of the articles that I read, reportedly it's seen out of the corner of your eyes. For most people, which uh, mine was not. Mine was straight in front of my face. Um, so I didn't see any red eyes. It seemed completely humanoid. Like I said, I really thought it was my dad standing in my room in the darkness. So that's my experience with shadow people. Something else I read is that it's recurring, and that there's theories that shadow people are manifestations of negative energy from people. In my personal experience, I mean, I've had more negative energy this year, I think, than ever. And I have not seen a single damn shadow person this year. Or any other year. That's been tough. So, for me, I can't relate to that. It also says that they usually cause feelings of dread and hopelessness, which, given that a weird shadow thing is staring at you in your house, probably.
Right? That would just be immediate anxiety.
I would be filled with dread. um,
Are you done being a
so
menace?
yeah, I think that pretty much covers the main descriptions that I've seen.
Well, the shadow person that showed up in my house, it can be connected to negative energy because we're pretty sure the guy who lived here before us might have killed his wife.
Oh.
We are not super sure about this,
I was waiting for
but
you to say might have been a murderer.
I was waiting for
yeah,
suicide, but
we're not sure. I got a mail a few months ago that her car had been repossessed. We've been living here for 2 years because they haven't her car hadn't moved for 2 years, and I was like, oh, what are the odds that
Yeah.
she moved out of this house and never moved her car from the moment she left this house?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so this
that's
isn't this isn't like a verified, like, the man was arrested and stuff for the murder of his wife.
No, we have no idea what happened with them. We have
Oh,
no idea
okay.
what happened. All I know from the people who lived before is that the house in front of us told us that inside our house where we live now, the family was I don't remember how they put it, but they had negative thoughts about this family because
Uh-huh.
there was a lot of abuse going on between the
Oh,
husband and wife,
oh,
which I can tell because I have holes in my walls and my doors.
oh.
And they're sure that something happened between them, but they never saw when he left and they never saw when she left.
I'm just saying, if you can send me her name from that repossession letter, I'll look into it and let you know.
Yeah, right. Let's turn
I
on a
looked up
detective
on,
quiz.
okay, so I have a friend who works in, I don't remember what,
Mm-hmm.
but there was like this background search thing, and her last known phone number was active 2 years ago. You know, when she left this house.
Hmm.
Her car was repossessed because it hasn't been moved in 2 years.
So there's
Her last
no
address was this house.
there's no
Well,
missing there's no missing report.
did they
I didn't
both
see one. I couldn't find one. I didn't look for one either.
so did they both supposedly disappear from
I don't know what the guy's name was. No one can find what this guy's name was.
The
But
neighbors
her,
didn't know?
They never talked to them because they were like weird and creepy people that they didn't want to get involved. So they don't know who the guy's name was. I know what the lady's name is, but not the dude. And only because her shit keeps showing up to my house.
Did they own the property or rent the property?
They rented?
Yeah, because if they
Okay,
had
so
owned the property,
I live on a military base.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Yeah.
We rent the houses, and the mailbox was under her name, so I don't know what the fuck his name was.
Oh, that's a whole different can of worms, too.
Yeah, I really want to look into this.
I have so many questions.
If he had murdered her,
Uh-huh.
we would have known because there was a murder a few months, I think a year back, down the street, and everyone heard about it.
But,
Well, it
like,
depends on
do you
where
know,
and
was
how-
he in the military or was she?
I'm assuming it's her because everything is under
Everything's
her
in
name.
her name.
Oh, true.
I just assume it was her because everything is under her name. And it's odd because I didn't see her in the house. So the shadow person wasn't specifically her.
Okay, but unless she snapped, killed him, changed her name, and got the fuck out.
Or he took both of them out.
Or he took them both out.
Well, if it's a murder-suicide, you're gonna know about that.
Are these words okay to say on Twitch?
Yes, as long as you're not inciting
Yeah.
anything.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to
And
make
you don't
sure.
show a specific weapon.
Okay.
If you come out with a knife, then Twitch is gonna take you down.
Gotcha. All right. Just wanted to make sure. I'm never sure.
And I feel like you
I-
can tag your streams as adult content, so people
We
are
did.
not like
We-
little
yeah,
kids are gonna
yeah,
get
yeah.
scared.
The channel is adult content.
Yes. 100%.
Like, so that's like, and I realize we're on a murder tangent, but I'm deeply fascinated by true crime.
Same.
Oh, if we're on a murder tangent, apparently, okay, which is still spirit box related, this base is haunted, and these streets are haunted. A few years back, a man murdered his wife and daughter, buried them inside the walls of a fire station,
No.
plastered over it, and left their bodies there to rot. This is a news report that you can look up.
Oh my gosh.
No shit.
This isn't even a mile away from my house, and everyone's like, maybe it's because of your affinity for spooky shit. Maybe you brought it to your house. And I was like, no, I think it was.
Here.
I can't say her name. I don't want to say her name.
Yeah.
I need to think of a fake name for her so I can refer to her.
Jane Doe.
Beatrice.
Jane Doe. It's like, whatever's happening to me, I think it's because of Jane Doe. I don't think it's because of the haunting that happened in the fire station, which is
So,
a whole nother thing.
I'm gonna need you to send me an article on Fire Station because I got a lot of questions off of that. But okay.
Oh, there's like a whole haunting. That fire station is
But-
literally haunted, apparently.
Okay, but did he do anything
I've never been there.
about like the smell to make sure they didn't get found, or did he just buy himself time?
It does not say anywhere, and this
Son
didn't
of
happen
a
when I was
bitch.
living here, and this didn't happen. My uncle lived in this base before we moved here, and it didn't happen in his time because this came out in 2008,
Oh. That was a while ago.
Oh,
where this guy literally murdered his family, put them inside of the walls, and went about his day until he was caught. He was arrested, and those bodies were dug out of the walls.
Went about his day.
He went about his day like, oh, this is normal.
Ugh.
I have so many questions.
I know, right?
And then I only heard about it because I heard that a guy actually got moved out of this base. He was stationed here,
Mhm.
which I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know the military could move you because you were spooked. New shit, never heard of.
What?
Yeah.
Some dude was living here. He worked at the fire station because there are firemen in the Air Force, there's
Right.
firemen in the Army, there's firemen, blah, blah, blah. You get
Volunteer
any,
attachments.
there's a lot of jobs.
Oh yeah, they're
Well-
all about. There's like this little bug on the ceiling, and they will do anything to get to it right now. And I'm just trying to protect the computer and the mic.
Yeah.
So this guy was stationed here, and he worked at the fire station, and you have to stay nights at the fire station. You have to be on call.
Yeah.
And he slept in one of their little rooms, their little bunks. And he was getting freaked out because some random shadows were coming to him in the middle of the night, and he kept seeing things, kept moving, he kept hearing things move, he kept hearing slamming in their little kitchen, and the dude got fucking spooked, and he literally got sent out of here.
Wow.
And then later they're like, oh yeah, you got haunted because this fire station is haunted. A guy murdered his family and put him in the walls. And it was like, what?
Maybe they should retire that base. Move it somewhere else, you know?
Apparently, there's 3 haunted things on base. I don't remember what the third one was, but I know the fire station is haunted. There's a plane in one of the hangars that's haunted.
Do people
And
fly
then my
the
house.
plane?
Yeah, they fly the plane, and when the plane flies to its location, which is usually in the Middle East because it's one of those planes that they send off to war,
Right.
they get spooked over there and over here. It doesn't matter where the plane is. The plane spooks where it's at.
So the plane's just straight haunted.
The plane is straight haunted.
Haunted plane rides.
It's a haunted plane. And my husband's like, I really hope I don't have to work on that plane. Because he's a mechanic.
People would pay to take that plane.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, I don't want to work on that plane. And I was like,
Yeah, no, I don't know if I would ever ride on a haunted plane. I don't trust that.
I'm just saying, I mean, I fucking broke a lease because my house was haunted, so...
Yeah, right?
I had to have this house. I think I got it blessed twice. And I got it exorcised once.
Okay, so what's
it's
going
still
on in the
haunted?
house?
Okay. All right. It's a decent story, I guess. I wrote it down. Let me look it up so I don't forget all the nice details.
All the lovely details.
Vale did more work for our show than we did.
Lovely.
Yeah, right.
I am your show today.
You are. You're
You
100% our show today.
Thanks for saving us.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Again, as always.
Yep.
Oh damn. Per usual. Here am I saving Jay.
this year.
Okay. So we moved here in January of 2020.
Okay.
Literally, the day I got here, things were a little weird. So I'm oddly very skeptical because in my brain I was like, yeah, I know what really happens, so everyone else is bullshit.
Right.
So I was like, I've actually lived it. All you guys are just looking for clout. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
So I'm like really skeptical. Like, I don't know why.
No, that's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of reasons to be skeptical out there.
So like, one of the first things that happened to me was literally the week I moved in, I kept locking the back door, and I kept finding the back door open in the mornings. Like, what the fuck? So to the point where we still had a bunch of moving boxes.
Yeah.
I locked the door, I bashed it in, and I put one of the moving boxes in front of it. I went about my day, and when I went back into the living room, the back door was open and the moving boxes were moved. My husband wasn't even home because he was working 12-hour shift.
I don't appreciate that.
So you changed
So, like-
the locks.
Yeah, I had them come in and change the door. They changed the threshold, they changed the locks, they changed everything so that door wouldn't move. Door kept opening. I just kept putting stuff in front of it. I just kept swedging it.
What the hell?
Because to me, I'm like, oh, it's not... I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Like, I
Right.
didn't... Oh, my first thought wasn't, oh, there's a ghost. My first thought was, holy shit, someone's gonna rob us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that would be my first thought.
Like,
Is somebody's gonna come
My
in the
first
house.
thought was, someone's
Like,
gonna rob us.
hey,
Because
ghost,
that
can
back
you
door
stop
should not be
moving the
fucking
door?
open.
Fucking open, like.
Yeah, so
just
my
like the
first
house,
thought
at
would
least.
be, whoever lived here before still has a key, and the motherfucker's coming in my house.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I kept, like, wedging stuff in it. I kept putting stuff in front of it. I, like, just trying to make sure the door didn't open. But then I was, like, talking to my aunt, and I come from a very, very religious family. Very religious. And one of the things that my mom always did was bless a house when you move in. Because you don't know who did what before you got there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I could do that. Like, I just look up on online how to do this. And so I did it, and the door stopped opening. What a coincidence.
Yeah, that's weird.
So the door stopped opening, but that was like the only thing that was happening for the first few weeks. And I was like, all right, a month went by, 2 months went by.
So what did you
And I was
think?
like hearing things walking around the house. Like, wait
What
a
did you,
second.
what did you think when you blessed the house and it stopped? Like, did you get a red flag from that?
No, I didn't. I was like, oh, I guess that lock finally worked.
I don't think that's where anybody's brain
My-
naturally goes.
Yeah,
I
no.
only, after the fact, put it all together with all the rest of the shit that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
Because another thing that I knew, because, like, okay, so my family has a long history of spooky shit. So I know that if it's something really bad, a little, like, half-assed blessing isn't gonna stop anything. It might, like, weaken it, or it might, like, slow shit down, or it might get something angry.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
Yeah.
For me, the thing went quiet for a few weeks, and then came back.
Angry?
Well, it wasn't really angry, it just really wanted to be known.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is, again, I didn't realize was a thing yet. So, like, for me, then I started hearing, like, people walking up and down the hall, and I'm like, damn, that's really weird. At that point, we didn't have our neighbors yet.
Yeah.
So, the duplex next door, empty. Well, because then, later, when other things happened, I started blaming it on the neighbors, and I was fucking pissed at the neighbors. But at this point, they weren't there yet. I was like, oh, that's weird. It must be, like, the air shifting in this house. Like, I must not be used to the sounds of a house. I'm new here. Maybe it makes noises
Yeah.
that just so happen to sound like people walking. You never know.
Right.
Okay. That was the next thing that happens. The next thing that I have, like, a little note over here on the side. My door starts shaking.
The back door?
My front door starts shaking like someone's trying to open it.
No.
And I'm
Okay.
like, that's weird. But I noticed that when this point, my new neighbors move in. And I'm like, oh, they must have been like, when they opened their house, the pressure of the air shakes the house
Yeah.
and the frame might move.
Yeah.
That happens.
Perfectly
It's
logical
okay.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logical thought. Like, I'm telling you, it took me a while to realize, oh shit, none of this is actually real. Like, none of this should be happening.
Right.
Like, I kept hearing, like, the door shaking, like, moving, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking weird. I don't know what's fucking happening here. I keep
Yeah.
hearing people walking. I guess it must be the neighbors. When the neighbors are walking in their house, maybe it's echoing, whatever.
Right.
And then this is what actually makes me think my house is haunted. So I'm sitting here at my computer, fucking working, type. It's the middle of the fucking night because my husband works nights and I'm always here by myself.
Right.
So it's the middle of the goddamn night and I'm here, type. And I hear the front door shaking violently. Like someone's like literally grabbing onto the door and shaking it back and forth, trying to get in.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought to myself, oh, one time some dude got really drunk, put his key in the door, and didn't realize that this wasn't his house.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe he's at the wrong house.
Yeah.
So I go over and I walk over to the door, and like right before I touch the door to put my hand on it, it stopped shaking. I'm like, oh, maybe the dude realized it's not his house. So I look over through the little hole. I'm like, there's no one there.
Oh.
And then I hear my back door shaking. Like,
No.
Nope. Bye. It's your house. I'll get in a hotel for the night.
So my back door starts shaking. Like, holy fuck, that's so weird. So like, I go up the little steps and then go to the back door, and the whole door is glass. So I'm like, I move the little curtains to the side. Beep. There's no one back there, and the door stopped shaking. You know, obviously, as soon as I put my hand on it.
Yeah.
Like.
Now, was this like a shaking that you could visually see from the door too?
No, when I got there, the blinds were still shaking.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Like, the door was actually fucking shaking. Like, someone was literally banging on this door.
Oh my goodness.
Like, you could hear the rattling of the fucking, the little door jamb inside the keyhole and all that shit. And I'm like, it's fucking weird. The thing is, to get to the back door, you have to climb up some steps, open a little veranda, which also has a door, and then come in to get the other door.
So if
Like,
somebody had been there, you would have caught him.
yeah, there's no way they were just
Yeah.
gonna get out of there. Like,
Without you noticing.
like, I was gonna fucking see him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking weird. And I'm like, all right. Nothing, I don't hear anything. I'm like, okay, that was weird. But it was unsettling. But, whatever. So I go back. I go back.
Unsettling.
Yeah, it was
I would've
unsettling.
been
Because it's like,
scared
it was
shitless.
kind of weird, but I didn't think anything of it yet. So I go back into my room. I sit down. My ass touches the seat. Dun, 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 dun. Front door starts shaking again.
Who the fuck? Stop walking
I'm like,
back and forth.
no, this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is not alright. I run over to the door. Right before I get to the door, it stops shaking. I look through the hole. There ain't no one there. The back door's shaking. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I run over to it as fast as possible. Move the blinds. There's no one there. This is when I realize, if there's someone fucking with me, they're gonna get fucked. I run into the kitchen and grab my sharpest knife.
Yeah, I would have too.
So I grab my knife, and both doors start shaking.
Nope. Moving.
Yep.
Bye.
So this is when I was like, oh yeah, this is not a person.
Yeah.
This is when my brain's like, yeah, this is definitely not a person. But I'm still scared. If it is, I don't want to be caught, like, by myself.
Right.
So I go into my room, and I close the door, and I barricade it.
Mm-hmm.
And I put the knife on my nightstand. I put it right next to me. I text my husband. Something weird's happening. I keep hearing the door shaking, and I don't know what's happening. And I can't, and there's no one there. And he's like, do you want me to come check the house? And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, because it's not, I know it's not a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I know it's not a person. And he's like, all right, well, I can go check the house if you want. And I was like, all I'm going to tell you is, when you come home, go sleep in the other room, because if you knock on this door, I might stab you. I have a knife with me. He's like, all right.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's terrifying.
I was like, that's fucking horrible. Like, the next day, I woke up and bought security cameras. My house now has security cameras.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if this was a person, which it could not possibly be, the person had to be too fast.
Yeah.
Or two
I just
people.
set up cameras, like, I'm gonna see it.
You're right.
Like, you never know. Like, maybe it's a fucking psychopath. There's psychopaths everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I set up cameras, and I was like, everything's fine, blah, blah, blah. I saw some holy water. So, sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. And suddenly the house is quiet again. It's quiet for like 6 months. Nothing happens. And then my parents come to visit. So I was telling them about it, and my mom was like saying how that's weird and how that's unsafe and how I need to be more careful, blah, blah, blah.
How could you have been more careful?
I didn't have security. I didn't have any security measures before this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
anyone could have walked into my house whenever the fuck they felt like it, apparently. So, then, so my husband goes off to work, and my parents are staying here, and they're staying in the other room, and I go off to sleep. And my mom and dad hear the front door shaking.
No.
So my dad gets up, and he checks the door. He's like, oh, there's nothing there. Maybe it's the wind. He goes back to bed. My mom's like, well, I have to pee. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. She goes over to the bathroom, da, da, da. She does her business, and then the bathroom door opens.
No.
No.
And my mom starts going, so, like, my mom starts calling for my dad. Ba, 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 is that you? And no, he doesn't answer.
No.
And she hauled ass back to the room. But, like, after that, everyone's like, yeah, there's something going on with your house. I'm like, oh yeah, there's got to be something going on with my house, but I'm not sure what I'm gonna do.
So at this point, was it your parents' experience that turned the switch of this is most likely a ghost, or?
I feel like that plus the doors was like, some of this stuff is adding up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But what really solidified it was literally the last thing that happens to me before I fucking go off the deep end.
Oh jeez.
Like, Again, it's the middle of the night, blah, blah, I'm by myself. I go off to the bathroom, let me brush my teeth, da, da, da. I open the door, and there's someone standing in front of my bedroom.
Nope.
Stop!
It's not a person. It's a shadow person.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a shadow. Like, I can't tell if it's a woman or a man. It has 2 arms, it has 2 legs, it has a body, it has a torso, and there's a deep-ass shadow person in the middle of my room. And my head says, if it knows you're scared of it, then that'll give it power. So you gotta pretend you're not scared of it. So, my dumb ass, fucking inside my body, I'm hyperventilating, but I'm just like acting really calm on the outside. I walk through it, close the door, go to bed, lay down, and hyperventilate like a moron. Like, I'm like,
You walked through it?
like,
Oh.
I was losing my ever-loving shit.
I can't believe you walked through it, you ballsy bitch.
Like,
What was I gonna do?
oh
I
my
would
Sleep in
god.
the bathroom? Like, I guess I'm gonna close the door and sleep in the tub.
No. Bye. I'm getting in the car. I'll sleep there tonight.
I was like, no, like, if it knows I'm scared of it, it gives it power.
Yeah.
So I've heard. Like, no one really knows what these things
Right.
do or how they are, but I subscribe to the fact that the more energy they get, the
Right.
stronger it becomes. I'm like, nope, I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you. I'm so scared of you.
Yeah.
I'm so scared of you.
And it's so funny that you closed your door and waited to start hyperventilating until you were in bed. It's like,
Like, I
through
really
the
did.
walls.
Like, that shit can go through anything. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna close the door on you. I'm gonna walk inside. I'm gonna go in bed, throw out the covers. Okay,
Yup,
now I'm hyperventilating. I'm losing my shit. I'm done.
The covers are the psychological safety net.
It is.
Like, the covers block me from all evil.
That shit had me bad.
Yeah,
Then,
I
So,
So,
has
like,
anything
I-
happened
I-
to your husband at this point, or just you and your mom?
me, my mom, and technically my dad, because he
Oh,
heard the
because of the
door
door.
shaking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also this, like, weird thing that I've realized, that it can skip people. So, when I was younger, I lived in a haunted house, and my mom could see things, my oldest brother could see things, and I could see things. But my dad and my middle brother couldn't see shit. But my middle brother, every once in a while, he'd get this, like, weird feeling, like a tingling feeling, and he's like, I don't know what it is, and I feel weird. And it would usually be right before something was about to happen.
Huh.
So, like,
So you're...
some people can't perceive it, maybe?
Right.
And I think my husband's one of those people. But the hilarious thing about this is my husband is like, he gets scared very easily. He can't watch, like, scary movies. He's like a little bit of a scaredy cat.
Isn't your husband in the military? Isn't it?
And?
Yeah. And?
And? He's a mechanic. What the fuck is he gonna do? Like, fucking... It's like asking someone who, like, works at a rock auto, like, oh man, are you scared of ghosts? Like, it has nothing to do with your job. You're a fucking mechanic.
Listen, I don't know where he's been.
It's like, fucking dude at O'Reilly's Auto Parts. Do you get scared by ghosts? Like, yeah, I'm a fucking mechanic.
Yes, but that doesn't mean he won't see anything scary.
Different type of scary.
He's just scared of ghosts. He watched Annabelle in theaters and kicked a popcorn bucket over the seat in front of us.
Oh, I love scary movies.
He was playing a horror game when we were first dating. He got scared, dropped the control, and kicked it. Like, he was like, ah! And he dropped it and he kicked it. And I just looked at him like, did you really fucking do that?
So his fight or flight is a little bit of both, it sounds like.
Yeah.
He's just like, ah.
Get it away from me. That's his fight or flight.
But, like, this story doesn't end because when all of this shit happens, when I finally realize, yo, I gotta do something about it, because it's something that it's not something that I can, like, it's not the locks, it's not a person, like,
Right.
it's something that I have to find other solutions for.
Right.
Since my family's really religious and I live relatively close to my aunt, because their last base was here and they fucking retired, blah, blah, blah. I was talking to her and she was like, oh, I'm gonna have a priest come down to your house. I told him all about everything that was happening, and he says he has to do a house exorcism. Like, what's a house exorcism?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, he's gonna come down and he'll tell you all about it. And I'm like, all right, okay. So whatever, conversation. A few days pass, and my doorbell rings, and I'm like, yo, who the fuck's ringing my doorbell? I open the door, and it's my neighbor. And she's like, I don't really know how to start this conversation, but if you smell smoke, don't call the police or the fire department. I'm like, wait, what? run that by me again?
Yeah. Well,
She's like, I don't know how the vents work, and I'm not sure if you'll smell smoke, but if you smell smoke, don't call the fire department. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's something going on in this house, and I'm gonna smudge the house. And when I turn on the smudge, I don't know if you're gonna smell it. And I was like, wait a second. What's going on in your house?
Come on in, have some coffee.
And she's like, I am not crazy. I swear I'm not crazy. I felt so bad because I was like, yeah, no, I know you're not crazy because
Yeah.
some shit's happening here. But I didn't tell her anything. She's like, my husband is currently deployed. He's in Qatar, which is in the Middle East somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm here by myself. And I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. But I keep seeing something walking around my house.
No.
I hear it walking around my house. And I feel like something's watching me. I'm like, you're not crazy, don't worry. Things have been happening in our house too. A priest is gonna come to fucking give an exorcism. You want in? She's like, oh my god, yes, please. When the priest comes, tell him to come over to my house. I was like, I got you. So
Did
like,
she-
I didn't really want to tell her anything because I was like, she's all by herself.
Yeah. Did she say
So-
anything other than, like, were any of her experiences like the same as yours? Did she also have doors shaking or anything like that?
So yeah, like, she didn't tell me until the exorcism.
Yeah.
So the priest comes over to the house. He's like a little bit holier than thou, and I was kind of pissed off at him because he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But I was like, do what you need to do, because I still need some shit out my house.
Right.
Right.
So he does this whole spiel. He drowns me in holy water, which was very funny. To this day, I'm like, dude, he saw sin all over my face because this man like literally went whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Oh my goodness.
When I turned to my husband, I was drenched. I was absolutely drenched. I was like, do I look that sinful to you?
Did he drench your husband or no?
Like, it got in his eyes, and he was like, that's so weird. And I was like, apparently he thinks I'm the devil. So like, he does his thing, he does everything, and I'm like, oh god, please let this work. And I tell him, my neighbor is in this, this duplex next to us. She's home right now, and she was hoping that you could come by and do the same thing for her because she's having some experiences. I'm like, okay. So he says, oh, but you have to come with me.
You specifically, or both you and your husband?
Well, we both went.
Oh.
Bye,
Like-
honey. I'm taking a nap. Have fun.
Yeah.
And he could have at this point because it's all me.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, I don't know, the Whore of Babylon or something. I don't know, but Jesus Christ. So we go over to the door, knock, knock, knock. She lets us in. He does his whole spiel again, and I see that she gets annoyed too, and I'm like, I know, right? Then he turns around, opens this thing of holy water, whoosh, whoosh,
Oh
whoosh, and I'm
my
like, why
goodness.
again? Why are we doing this? My shirt had just finished drying.
Oh my gosh. What? That's so rude.
Then he asks her what she's been seeing in her house, or what she's been feeling.
Mhm.
What caused her to need this? And she's like, "Oh, I've been hearing people walking around my house." And I look over at my husband like, "Yeah, I've been hearing people walk around our house too."
Mhm.
She's like, "I've been seeing like a shape of a person, a shadow person, out of the corner of my eye." And I was like, "I also saw a shadow person. He's standing right at my door."
Uh-huh.
And she's like, but she didn't have like the weird door shaking like me. She just saw something and she just heard the sounds of people walking through the house, which I
Yeah.
also was hearing. And she's like, and she just was having this really negative energy throughout her house. And I was like, I agree, because that negative energy for us was weird, because we don't get into fights, me and my husband. But at that point, we were like really annoyed with each other all the time.
Mhm.
And we're not that type of people.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I've been having like this really negative energy around. Like, I've been feeling this type of way. I've been feeling that type of way." And I was like, "Huh, that's a symptom. I didn't
Yeah.
know that was a symptom." And so the priest does his thing, and he leaves. Then I was just sitting there talking with her, and I told her what was happening with us, and she told me what's happening to me, because my husband didn't see shit. What's happening to me? She told me what was happening to her. Her husband also can't see shit, which is funny,
Yeah.
because when he came back, she saw some stuff again, and he didn't.
Oh my
And I was like,
Mm.
goodness.
then the ghost can stay on your side of the duplex. It
Yeah.
just doesn't need to cross over to my side of the duplex.
Does he believe her, or is he like?
Oh no, yeah, he believes her. He's
Oh,
also
okay.
a big chicken, like my husband.
Very interesting situation you have going on.
It's hilarious. We became best friends with them now. Like, they
Yeah.
are literally our best friends. And I was like, we got bonded by a ghost.
Yeah.
So like, she did a smudging, and she did this like Native American ritual with an egg.
Uh-huh.
And then she had the house blessing. I did a smudging, and then I did the house blessing, and then I got the exorcism, and I was like, okay. And I haven't had shit happen in my house. But a few weeks ago, literally a few weeks, where I mentioned it to you guys,
Yeah.
she was like, "I think things are starting up in my house again." And I was like, "You know what? Let it stay on your side."
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
That's quite the story. So, are you getting a second exorcism then, or?
Oh no, I don't need it. Ain't nothing happening in my house right now.
Well, at least there's that. Yeah, he only half-assed her exorcism.
He was like,
He didn't throw enough holy water on that second exorcism.
like I had to swim in it.
Yeah, right?
She just
That's
got a
what
few
did it.
drops.
Yeah, yeah. That's what did it. That's why he told you to come over.
He was like, he threw that water at me, and I was like, I'm drowning, I'm drowning.
His
Well,
heart wasn't in that second one.
That shit
What
sucked.
what did you feel? Did you feel anything when you walked through the shadow figure?
Other than like bone chilling fear? Because I couldn't tell if it was that I got cold because I walked through it, or I got cold because I was scared. Because you know how when you get scared, you get like
Yeah,
goosebumps and your
Yeah.
blood goes cold. So
yeah.
I got that feeling, but I'm not sure if it was just because I was so fucking scared, or it caused me to get cold.
Yeah, same. With my situation, I had that same feeling, and I think it was because I got scared shitless, but I'm not actually sure.
Though I have another story for you guys if you want to hear it.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
hell
Let's
yeah.
go.
Okay. So I think maybe possibly the first time I had any paranormal experience,
Mhm.
I was like 9.
Mhm.
And to this day, I still blame my brother for it.
Fair.
So I mentioned before that my middle brother can't see shit.
Mhm.
Right.
So one day, he's like, "Oh, I have this like really weird feeling, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not feeling okay. Can you come sleep in my room?" And he had bunk beds. I was
Mhm.
like, "Okay, yeah, sure." I don't feel scared or anything. We
Yeah.
hadn't watched anything on TV. Like, he's 2 years older than me, so he was 11, and so he was just like, he wasn't even like super scared or anything. He was like, "I just have this kind of weird feeling." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Okay, whatever."
Yeah.
I have no problems with this.
Yeah.
So I went over to his room, and I crawled up into my bunk bed. I got onto the second bunk, and I was just sitting there, And in the middle of the night, I wake up and I'm like, oh man, why is this room so cold? And I usually like face the wall. So I flip over.
No.
No, that's the mistake, Vale.
I was 9. I didn't know where the mistake was yet.
I didn't know where the mistake was yet.
You never turn around.
I turned into the middle of the room, and in the middle of the room, there was a man with he had really pale skin. It was very ashy. I could see like his knuckles. I could see the veins. He was wearing a black cloak, and he was hanging by his neck with a noose.
Stop. No.
No.
This is something that really fucking happened. And he was hanging there in the middle of the room, and my ass got so scared for a second, I started shaking the bed. And you just hear eek, 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 because it was a metal bunk bed. Eek. I'm like, wake up, wake up. And I'm calling for my brother. He's dead ass asleep.
Useless.
Useless ass bitch. And I was like, and I was thinking, oh, maybe it's like, and when I got older, I was like, oh, is that sleep paralysis? No, because I was moving the whole goddamn bed.
Yeah, and you said you were calling for your brother, right?
I was calling for my brother. I was like, wake up. I was calling his name, and he wouldn't wake up. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god. But then I was so scared, I couldn't look away. So I was just looking and looking. And I was just like, so when I saw the figure of the man, he was like this.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
I hate it.
So
He
I'm
looked
staring at him, and all of a sudden, I see his head starting to move, and I'm like, oh
Shut up.
my
No.
fucking god.
Nope.
No.
Oh my god. And I'm sitting there, and I start shaking the bed a little harder, a little faster. I'm like shaking it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And the head is looking at me.
No.
I say the head because the eyes were missing.
Of course they were. Of
The
course
eyes,
they were.
like, they had like scratches around them, like something had clawed them out. So I was like, his eyes were fucking scratched out, but what I'm assuming were crows or ravens or fucking some shit.
Oh, yeah.
He had no eyes. His skin was super fucking pale, translucent white. He was fucking looking at me with his no eyes having ass. I was like shaking the bed, shaking the bed, shaking the bed. And I was like, okay, it's not real. This isn't real. This isn't happening. I'm making this up. This is my imagination. I just have to stop looking at it. So I flip back over.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Oh, yeah, mistake number 2.
Yeah, what?
I was 9. How was I gonna know this was a mistake?
The flipping over thing is like a no-no.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not looking at it. It's not here. It's not here. That's my imagination. It's not here. I'm like, and then I feel. So the air in the room kind of like shifted, and you could feel like something had moved across the room. And I'm like, nope, that's just the air conditioning. The air conditioning is turning on, and then just I'm really fucking cold. My fingers are turning blue because I am fucking freezing. This is absolutely freezing. But this it's my imagination. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. This isn't happening. And I feel 2 hands on my back.
Nope. Bro.
Please
don't
tell me
touch
your brother woke up.
My brother did not wake up because this man could sleep through a fucking atomic bomb. To this day, my brother could still sleep through that shit. He is the hardest sleeper of anyone. You can kick him and he won't wake up.
Oh my gosh.
I feel the hands on my back and I start screaming. Like, I start not screaming. I start yelping because I can't scream. I'm a person who can't scream. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
And I like making this like little fucking squeaking sound. And I'm like shaking the bed. I'm shaking the bed, shaking the bed. And then I feel the hand slowly going up and around the back of my neck.
No.
And I got so scared I passed out.
Oh my god.
When I woke up the next morning, I jumped off the bed, kicked my brother, and said, fuck you, I hate you, I'm never sleeping in your room again. Never tell me you're gonna have a bad feeling. Never tell me that you're not feeling okay. I'm never dealing with you again. And I left, and I never went back to, and never slept in my brother's room again.
So did you ever, when you got older, did you ever, like, research the property?
I looked it up, I looked up a little bit of it, and what I heard is usually when a ghost or something has like that pale its skin that looks like ash, it's usually related to something Native American.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that. And I'm like, that's weird. But that was I was living in New Jersey at the time, and I had never heard of anything like that
You were
happening over
living
there.
in New Jersey?
Yeah, I was living in New Jersey. I had just moved to New Jersey. Like,
Sorry,
if you
y'all,
want to
guys,
keep
that's
going,
my
I still have more stories.
So obviously we're doing this again.
Yes.
But like, so you don't like you never looked in to see like if it was somebody that lived there or lived near the property, or like if the property
I
was near
never looked
something
into
that
it
used to be
'cause
Native American.
I was little. I didn't really. I was scared, but
Well, I
then
mean, when
after
you
a
got
few days, I
older,
just didn't think about it. When I got older, and I never looked into it, and at that point, I was living on a military base because my dad was in the Air Force.
right?
And while those were one of the older houses they had ever built, and the base on Fort Dix, it wasn't like I was like, it's a military base. What could have happened here? Like, but then as I got older, like now, I'm like, a lot of shit could happen.
Yeah,
They fucking repossess land all the time. They don't give a
yeah.
shit. But I've never looked into it.
I had the wake up in the middle of the night to the cold room and the feeling of dread. But I did not roll over. That's
I didn't know better.
That's the key.
I did not know better.
I was a grown ass adult.
I was a little ass kid and I didn't know things were real.
I feel like it should be the other way around. I feel like the grown ass adult is the one who would be the one to turn around and
my thought process in that moment as a grown ass adult was, if somebody's in this house and they are here to murder me, they're gonna murder me whether I roll over or not. I'd rather not see it coming.
It's really bad for me because I have my fear response is to shut the fuck up and freeze. It's really not good.
I think I think that's got to depend on the situation, because like I'll react if it's somebody I give a shit about
Yeah.
in danger. But
Yeah,
if it's me,
same.
me, I'm like, fuck it, take me. I got too much student debt. I'm done. It's over.
Yeah, if anybody else is in danger, I am right there.
Yeah, I'll yank your ass out from in front of a car fast.
Yeah.
But me, I'll be like, oh, fuck, that doesn't look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit, Vale.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, and I still have stories because fuck me.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, it didn't happen when I was like a baby until I was 10. Nothing had ever happened.
So that
After
was
that
your
point-
first experience.
Fuck me. Yeah, that was my first experience.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a pretty bad.
That was the first one. And I didn't know it was an experience until much later.
Yeah.
When I had a conversation with my mom and she was like, "Oh, well, here's the thing." Because originally I thought it was a dream or a nightmare or something.
Right. Which is what
Again,
a kid would think.
even as a kid, I was skeptical about this shit. I didn't believe in any of it.
But see, I see that because I don't, like, when I had stuff happening in the house I used to live in, I wouldn't talk about it in the house. I wouldn't talk about it on the property. I'd talk about it way the fuck away from the house. But, like, I wouldn't... Even now, and, like, Heather can tell you it now, it even, like, I'm still fucked up by it.
Yeah, you could totally tell when you were telling that story that you were, like, not comfortable.
I don't know. There's something about, like, if I think that something is there, I won't talk about it because I feel like that's going to give it power.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said about, like, shadow people being manifestations of energy. I think everything is a manifestation of energy to some point. So
Yeah, I think things like feed off of energy. It makes them like you're just feeding into it. And then the other thing is where you think about it psychologically. The more you think about it, it's in your subconscious, and the more it's going to scare you because you're like, it's fresh in your mind.
Right.
So between you already feeding it, you're also feeding into your own mind, and you're like, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because when you feed into your own mind about it, you start to assume everything is that.
Yeah.
Whereas I was always like, okay, let me check the whole fucking house first.
Yes.
Let me go through the total debunk process.
Yeah.
Oh, I do
Or-
that shit every single time. Debunk
Pretend nothing.
everything
Yes.
first,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I'm like, huh. It took until the last thing that happened in this house for me to think, oh yeah, all the rest of that shit was related, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely. Well, I am more skeptic than believer, but at the same time, like I'm a scared little bitch. So when things happen in my house, my brain doesn't it skips over any logical explanations, and I immediately go to somebody's in the house. And if I
Yep.
look around and somebody's not in the house, it immediately goes to there's a ghost in the house.
I
I
go.
literally went, check the door, check the door. Oh shit. I don't see anything. Well, here's a knife. If someone comes in, I have this very nice sharp knife
Yeah.
and I can defend myself, was literally what I did. And then
Mhm.
barricaded the door because I was like, if someone does break into the house, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah.
That is fair. I feel
Yeah.
like that's an appropriate response.
I
It
usually
just
go
so
for dead
happens
knife.
that it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a person, and it was a thing because it was a ghost, and you can't stab a ghost.
So I think that's an interesting thing too. Is I've seen a lot of in the little tiny amount of research I did, there was a lot of debate over whether or not shadow people should be considered ghosts.
I don't think
Or
I personally I don't think it is. I think it's something else.
mhm,
Because usually from I've also kind of read a lot of shit that might dig into my brain and make me a crazy person. But I also read a lot of paranormal shit because I just love hearing it.
Yeah.
yeah,
My
same.
husband gets scared every time he hears me listening to horror podcasts, but whatever. But like usually a shadow person isn't like a form, like a woman with long hair or a guy or an old man or a
Right, that's an
child. A shadow
apparition.
person is just
Yeah.
like a shape of a thing.
Yeah,
So I think it could, in my case, whatever happened to Jane Doe, her family, and the murders on this street, plus the negative feelings that we were both feeling, the neighbor and I, and then add on the fact that I am a magnet,
yeah.
something just kind of like appeared and was feeding off of all of that energy put together and just like made a thing.
Maybe, yeah.
So you don't necessarily think it's a specific entity so much as like a ball of energy taking a shape, because that's what our brains try and do, is make sense of the shape.
I don't think it was a ghost. Like, I've seen a ghost, which is a different story.
It's a
That
different
didn't look like
story
a ghost to me.
from the hanging guy.
That's what
Oh
we
yeah, the
call a
hanging guy.
full-bodied apparition.
That was
Yeah.
a full-bodied apparition.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if the hanging guy, I assume it was a ghost only because when I read more about those type of things, it's
Mhm.
usually Native American based
Yeah,
and that it usually has to do with passed over spirits. So I'm like that could possibly have been a ghost. But
right.
then I've seen like a different type of ghost which was it didn't look like a shadow person. It had a form. You could tell who it was. It had features. The
Right.
shadow person is just kind of like that's really really dark black blob
Yeah.
that just has the shape of a person.
What was the what was the environmental lighting like during when you saw your shadow person? Like, was there any light on? Was it completely dark?
It I think the light for the bedroom and the light for the bathroom were both on. And then in the middle of the hallway is like here is this
This
fucking
black
thing.
blob. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Here's this thing that shouldn't be there because the fucking lighting shouldn't make a shadow coming from that direction because the light source is not there.
Yeah, and that was also my thing with the thing that I saw, whatever it was. I had multiple light sources, but it was overall dark. But this was like this outline was like advanced dark. Like
Yeah.
like
Which I
there
think-
was no doubt in my mind that something was there.
So not knowing like too much about shadow people, is that like the kind of the key difference between when somebody's saying they're seeing like a ghost and somebody's saying they're seeing like a shadow person, is the depth of darkness?
I would assume so.
Supposedly, shadow people are just a deep, like, it's darker than what you'd expect the surrounding area to be. It's just
Yeah.
darker than dark. And
Yeah.
that's what makes a shadow person.
Yeah.
Okay, because
A
like I know,
ghost doesn't have to be dark.
right? Like I know I've sat, and this only happened to me once. The company I worked for, we moved into a new building this year, and it was like super quiet in the building one day. I think I'm at the very end of the hallway, so if anybody comes down the hallway, I hear it. And there's
Right.
one office across from me that has a door. They always keep it shut because it's where like our our call center is. And they're in there and they have cubicles, and then there's one office behind mine that we actually have an adjoining door. And
Yeah.
beyond that, there's nobody past me. But I'm sitting at my desk, head down, and I have a glass window on my right, so if somebody walks up, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like see anybody walk up, but I could have sworn like there was a person standing at my door just like anybody else walks up to my door to talk to me.
Yeah.
And enough so that even without looking up, I was like, hey, what do you need?
Yeah.
And when nobody answered me and I looked up and there was nothing there. But it wasn't something that I thought was, I didn't see anything that I thought or would say was blacker than black. Like it just seemed like
You
there
just
was,
felt the presence.
it was enough.
It felt
that,
like someone was there. It was like a presence passing by.
Yeah.
But like out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw somebody there.
Weird.
Right. Right. So it was like one of those weird things where I'm like, this is just, and we had been there a while. It's not like this was the first week we'd ever been there. Like this was a couple months ago.
Personally, I would consider that if it was something, I would personally consider that under the ghost category.
That's what I figured.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think too, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I would
If it
have.
was something, I would go into the ghost category, because ghosts also, like, sometimes you see them out of the corner of your eyes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they have more of a presence, and sometimes they don't give that feeling of dread. A ghost doesn't give a feeling of dread like a shadow person does.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause the, okay.
So, like, if
yeah.
you just felt like someone was going by, it could have, like, if saying there it was a ghost, you could have just, like, felt the ghost, like, come by,
Right.
walk by, you just saw it out of the corner of your eye, because it has a presence. Sometimes there's like an echo. So if someone did something a lot, like, oh, it just is going about its daily life.
Yeah.
Right, because my
Residual
office was
function.
one, like, we remodeled, but my office was one that did not get remodeled. Like, the entire left side of our building where I am located did not get remodeled. The only thing they did was paint that side of the building.
There is that prevalent theory that I always hear about in a lot of the ghost podcasts and shows I listen to, that renovations can increase activity.
Yeah, because it's a
That's
huge
true.
building, and we partially renovated it so that half of it, or a third of it's tenant, and 2/3 is us. But then,
Yeah.
like, I've had one other person that I actually work with that I told about it. He's said that he's been there by himself and seen shit in the warehouse. But I have a hard time with seeing shit in the warehouse or getting notifications from the motion sensors in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Because
in that case, it's like, oh, the light went off. Yeah, a bug could have hit the fucking light and it turned on.
yeah, like, how sensitive are the lights? Have you tested this? Did a bird get in
It's
when
like,
the
it's a
bay
big
doors
warehouse,
were open?
and, like, you don't notice everything in a warehouse, and it's a big
Right.
open space. Like, you didn't notice that moved over there. Like, just, it didn't have to be something, and, like, but your mind might play tricks on you.
Right.
I said, I'm a skeptic for
Yeah.
most things.
Right.
Now, if you told me, hey, because we have like one long aisle in the warehouse, and then we have one very wide open space. Because in the winter, we have to pull trucks in for certain materials that they carry. So if you said I was walking in the wide open space and literally thought like somebody was walking towards me and got up to them and they were gone, I'd have a little more thought about what you said.
Right.
But just like, oh, we get notifications about the motion sensors going off all the time when nobody's here and nothing's on the cameras, and I have a hard time with that one. Because honestly, like, temperature can make those lights change.
Right, yeah. Warehouses
Another
are a little
thing
bit-
about being in an area and then being there for a while and nothing has ever happened, something doesn't have to be a trigger for something to happen.
Right.
Right.
some things just kind of fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
usually, again, from reading and looking at shit, when you renovate, you disturb and things pop up. But it doesn't always have to be. You can be there for a while and certain energies can trigger an event
Yeah.
that no one even realized was happening.
Yeah. And that's the only other thing that makes me think about it is there is a grave on the property.
I mean, that's prime real estate right there.
Just one grave
Have a visit.
that we're aware of, just the one. I've been lobbying for ground penetrating radar because we don't actually know where the grave is. We just know that the headstone is there and it's leaning up against this tree. But we don't actually know if the grave is directly below the headstone or where in our field the person rests. And it's so old that you can barely read it.
That's how you find bones in the middle of your day.
But the funny thing about you saying that you're trying to get ground penetrating radar is because of the whole Jane Doe fiasco. There's a theory going around on the block that there's like a difference in temperature between my master bedroom and the rest of the house. That they put her in the ceiling because there's no insulation in my ceiling. I'm like, I'm not looking up there. And they're like, oh, you should go and check. You should go, like, have the maintenance guys go into your ceiling and check. And I'm like, you can go fucking do it yourself, bitch.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's what I was about to say.
Just use a thermal camera.
Like, fuck, am I gonna something in my fucking ceiling?
Yeah, like, what? No thanks. Alright, ladies, it's almost 6:45. We've got to get ready for Valheim.
Yep.
I
You
have
guys
to
are
go
going to
bathroom.
Valheim.
We're doing this again, yes?
No, I can't wait to tell you the rest of my stories.
Yes!
I'm so happy that you had fun telling us your stories because I want you here all the time now.
Yes.
You have such great stories.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'll change
I'm glad
the title.
my pain can fucking entertain you.
Dale,
Because this shit ain't fun.
I wish we knew each other back when I was really into, like, because there were a few years in my life that I was really into it and, like, researching it constantly, watching shit constantly. I'm too tired for that shit now. But
just a quick spoiler, when we were in high school, one of the other scary shits that happened to me in New Jersey happened.
Oh, all right. We'll open next time with that story. How's that? All right, we're gonna go off and discuss our schedules and try to find the next time for another episode of Out of the Spirit Box. But for now, thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.